Hey guys, introducing Edon for the podcast this week. Welcome. How are you?
Hey man, thanks.
How you going?
Doing pretty
Oh,
good.
yeah. So we discussed this before. Do a little podcast together. Just
hmm
talk shop, talk whatever else, and really just I don't know. Just we have some topics that are called surrounding fear, anxiety, flow state, and expressing yourself. I don't know
Right.
how would you relate to these things and what your opinion on these things are, and when you come into certain things around these, what do you kind of do? You manage all these things. Gotta get this camera in focus. Come on, camera.
Um, well, it depends. Would you start with fear?
I
I
mean,
guess
yeah. I guess fear
I
and
guess
anxiety kind of go hand in
fear
hand.
fear is like something interesting,
Mm.
and everyone deals with it differently.
Mm.
But in terms of how I deal with it personally, I would say that I welcome it. I welcome emotions coming in,
Mm.
um, and I will not try to deny them, deny their existence, etc. So I would, embrace what is coming in and then still trying to rationalize what is going on, get some perspective. And if you manage to do that in a good way, you will be able to make a decision not affected by emotion, to make the right decision and then move forward in a good way.
Mm.
And no one is perfect at that. We're all human and we all have we're all subject to chemical cocktails in our brain, that
Mm.
make us feel certain ways and do certain things. But I would say that I'm not really afraid of fear, so to speak. And if I would have a plan that is crazy or something that I want to achieve, um, I really don't let fear stop me. If anything, I have learned from people smarter than me and looking at examples of people who have achieved more than me at this time. Um, I would say that if you feel fear, you're on the right track.
Mm.
And that is why I believe to keep pushing forward when you feel that resistance of fear, to
Mm.
break through the barrier, to keep pushing and keep going. So
Mm.
I guess it is kind of a general well-known concept of what I'm saying. It sounds a bit generic as well because all the greats are saying like, keep going through fear and you'll achieve everything. But it's true. It's generic for a reason. It's well
Mm.
known for a reason, and that
Yeah.
is what I believe.
Yeah. And it's at that point where you grow the most. Pretty much. It's that point where you you have that point and you feel it, and you should just learn from it. Take the lessons. And I think a lot of people don't, right? They go off and they go numb themselves and do something else instead of feeling that fear and instead of absorbing it and learning from it. So,
hmm
every they say, every negative emotion can give you a lesson, right? People just kind of live for the highs and the positive emotions because they feel good, but those are just temporary, right? If you don't go towards fear doesn't feel good, anxiety doesn't feel good, but they're all there for a reason, right? All of them,
hmm
they're all there, and they're all teaching you something. And each and every time you push past it, you become stronger and stronger. And I wouldn't say the fear never goes away, right? It's always there. It's there for a reason. It's a survival mechanism, and we impose. I think, well, they say since we came to survive like this, we have those fear and anxiety naturally, that we probably
hmm
feel we actually use them incorrectly, right? We look at them incorrectly. We would have been hunting and gathering and doing all those things, and now we're just like in a room, right? Just in a room. There's no fear in it. There's no true fear. There's nothing hunting you, and so
Right.
we are programmed to somewhat feel fear and anxiety, and I think we then look at work and be like, well, we impose those emotions that we naturally have onto work, and they're always disproportionate. And you always get that thing where they say, well, it's never as bad as you think it is. Perhaps what we usually think it is, it's actually you dying, you getting eaten by a lion or something like that.
Right.
Because if you look at it, people are just crazy, right? With the anxiety and the fear they have over just the smallest trivial things, right? It's not like you're going to die. It's not. That's what you got to say to yourself. You question, you go, well, are you going to die? Are you actually, what you're perfectly safe. What's the worst that's going to happen? So, and the thing is, there's strength on the other side of it. Always. There's always strength on the other side of that. And people just avoid it and numb it, and that's the worst thing you can do. You go towards it and jump in. It's that saying, jump and the net will appear. I'm not sure if you heard that before. It's a good saying.
Yeah, I've heard the saying before, but I would also say that, there is circumstantial fear and objective fear. For example, the instinct that makes us afraid of spiders and snakes, etc., because, we've experienced them to be venomous and bad. So that would be like hardwired into us. But you also have like subjective fear that, one can imprint on his or her own mind. For example, when someone is faced with a dilemma to quit their job and go for it on their own, that is dangerous because there's a lot of risk associated with that, logically, because who's going to pay your bills, who is taking care of yourself and your family if you have them, and that is also, I guess, a logical fear to have, so to speak. But then again, it is not a rational fear if you look at it from a different perspective, because what is there to lose? Let's say you're in your 20s. You don't have a lot of responsibility. You probably don't have a family to take care of. You don't have like a crazy mortgage to pay off. So you don't have a lot of risk being so young. So you can afford to take higher risks, and therefore also take on crazier things that might result in catastrophe, But what is the worst thing that can happen? Well, you may get kicked out of your house. Well, you move into a smaller one, or you can go and become a waiter and pay your bills anyway, So you're not going to die. The world isn't going to destroy itself, What can happen? Maybe socially, your world will cave in. Like, oh my God, Edon lost his job. He doesn't have anything anymore. Look at him now, where he's at under the bridge. And but these are all self-imposed fears psychologically that'll mess you up. I mean, if you're not prepared to handle such emotions and group pressure from your friends and stuff. So there's a lot of self-imposed fear that prevents you from doing a lot of things. And also, one thing I wanted to say finally is people often forget that what there is to win is far greater than what there is to lose. So taking the chance and actually making the jump, often the victory of making that jump has far greater benefit than doing it and failing or not doing anything at all. So I would say not trying, not doing is the biggest failure of all.
Yeah.
Because you're missing out on so much potential, and you should just grab your fucking balls and do it and see where you land. And, most of the time you'll be fine. Maybe you'll go through some hardship and then you'll get back into it. People are way worse off in countries, that are actually getting bombed and stuff. And here you're in your comfortable little bubble, worrying about what your friends are thinking if you're not able to afford a car anymore, for example. You know what I mean? It's such garbage mindset to have. There's no logic in it. But again, people cave into group pressure, people cave into social status and social expectations, etc. And if you can detach yourself from everything to really not give a fuck about what happens and what people would think of you, you'll be fine, and you'll be released from these chains that you've put on yourself, you've
Mm.
allowed to have on yourself.
Mm.
So, cut loose, stop thinking, and stop caring what others would think, and truly do what you desire and want.
Mm.
And just grab your balls. You got to take a risk in
Yeah.
life. That's what it is. I
Yeah.
feel.
That's perfect. Yeah, and there's, when one door closes, another door opens, right? That's what you have to be
Yes.
available to, and that's what you're talking about. That you don't know what's on the other side of fear too. That's the whole. There could be a whole new world that you actually like, and you have to question it. These things happen for a reason. Your intuition, your gut feeling. I'm not sure if you follow that much. Do you follow your gut feeling much? Doing things and
I only follow my gut
yeah,
feeling.
yeah.
If I feel something, and if I truly know inside that I want to do something, or direction I need to head to, I'll do it. And
Mm.
most of the time, my gut feeling is correct.
Yeah.
And if it isn't, I'll try to learn from that mistake,
Mm.
and be a wiser man. So
Mm.
there are sayings like, there is no failure, only you can only win and learn.
Mm.
Those kinds of sayings, and I love them so much because it is true depending on how you look at it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it is all about perspective. It is all about how you position yourself to look at something, and really make the most out of every situation you're in.
Mm.
And if you truly follow your gut, like if you really have that aching feeling of trying to leave your job to do your own thing, or to, for the first time, actually stand up to a shitty boss
Mm.
who's not paying you enough, if you've had that itch and that urge to actually let that voice out of yourself, go and fucking do it, and you'll
Mm.
feel so much better after you've done it. And all of these fears and thoughts and hypothetical situations that you're concocting up in your head, usually they're all false. They're
Mm.
all incorrect, overinflated, over dramatized. And you'll see like how willing people are to help you if you just dare to ask.
Yeah.
Just dare to ask something of someone, and you'll be surprised how often they'll actually do it for you.
Mm.
And I mean, it's getting mixed up a little bit in what I'm trying to
No,
say, but
that's all good.
you just gotta trust the gut, and follow your instinct, because
Mm.
I think we have a great instinct, and you should like value its accuracy, and the quality it had to, over all the years it had to develop, in our developmental stage of humans. It is much more valuable than you think.
Mm.
So definitely use it when you can, and when you actually feel it. Also try to enact on it. It'll be
Mm.
good.
Yeah, which is it's harder said than done, because it takes balls to act on it, because that's actually that's the fear thing, right? There's a
Yes.
mixture of fear and gut feeling, and what are you trying to listen to? And then the thing is, you end up trying to listen to this, and it's just going it's just 1,000 miles an hour. It's just like telling you to do all these things. What about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? And as soon
Yeah.
as you get into that, you just have to turn off. Like you have to literally stop it. Otherwise, you'll be driven insane by your own mind. And that's where a lot of the subconscious stuff, which will come out of flow state, but we'll discuss that coming up. I'm not sure if you know much about that, but yeah, no, I totally agree with all that. And yeah, staying up for yourself, and saying, if things don't feel right to you, you're better off saying something instead of not saying anything, because you're going to resent yourself later for it. So, but yeah, like I don't know how you are. I guess we could talk about anxiety. Do you ever get? I'm sure you get anxious on certain things at times. I talked to you about meditation. I just said I was meditating before. Have you
Yeah.
you've been doing it, right? You've been doing a bit of meditation here and there.
Well, I'm always fascinated by what it actually means,
Mm.
because there's always, when someone hears the word meditation, one might think it is really like taking some time for yourself to get to your senses, and for the other, it might mean being in some temple in
Mm.
a jungle to really like connect with the higher spirits.
Mm.
So I've always had trouble with defining the word and what it actually means. And therefore, I feel that I've never really been good at it. My mind is racing all the time. I'm thinking of everything, spaceships, aliens, whatever. And I wanted to see if I can teach myself or get someone in my life who can teach me how to be more mindful, how to take some time to allocate to myself and really become calm and to really be in control of my headspace. And so, yeah, I've been getting into yoga a little bit, and I've only had a few sessions, but it's been amazing so far. And I highly recommend it feel um, if you feel challenged in getting your headspace correct and finding that calmness to let like the thoughts flow. I really recommend getting some help of like someone who is experienced who can guide you through it. And it is also interesting because if you look at the top of the world, so to speak, in terms of business, all the top CEOs, they're so focused on mindfulness and focus and increasing attention spans, et cetera, which is decreasing every year in people because of the very own applications that they develop and put on the market. So I find it very ironic that the top of the companies who make applications that shorten our attention spans, et cetera, are actually themselves trying to increase those very same elements. And that's what I kind of identified, and I was like, I need to do that too. And I feel that there's great value in at least trying to learn how to use the techniques, how to improve your headspace, and how to really be in control of your thoughts, or at least have a small moment, in the day to really calm down and get back to your senses. So I highly agree that meditation is a very powerful tool.
Yeah. It's like mental gym. I'm not sure if you've heard that analogy. It's mental gym, essentially letting the mind be worked. And I think if you're using mind, you're constantly taxing it, right? If you're always thinking, you are always thinking, you're always being alert, you're going through the environment. So if you just focus on your breathing or a mantra, like go through those, cycle it, and it's hard to get into it. I'm not sure how. I'm by no means a good at meditation, and it you get into that point where you're just really following your breathing, or if you are doing a mantra, like you are in that, and you actually forget everything else, and you just go like I've only been able to do it for maybe like I think like 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and then you go in and out of it. It's like a bit of a wave, because it is really difficult. Like, it's the most difficult thing you could do is to stop thinking. Like, just stop. Because you've always got a thought. You're always trying to process something. There's always something in the back of your mind. You always think, oh, this might be a good idea. Like you were saying, thinking about spaceships and aliens and all that stuff. And so when you do sit down, I'm not sure, do you do the whole, like, pose, or are you just lying down? Because I kind of black my eyes out and I put earplugs in, and just lie down and do it. How are you doing it?
Well, when I do my exercises with my instructor, it is whatever she assigns me to do, in relation to the program. But when I try to do it myself, it can either be before I go to bed or after I wake up, or whenever I find a little moment where I feel like, hey, this is a good moment to do it, and then I'll just like lay on the couch or whatever and try to really go through the repetitions and the exercises that I got taught. And it's not like it's a magic a little force that you can all of a sudden use. It's not a magic trick.
No.
It all comes down to practice and repetition.
Yeah.
And so you'll see that in the beginning, you might not really get into that space, and you might not have a great experience, or it's not really effective. But if you keep going, if you keep practicing the muscle, which is the brain, you will get better at it. So you just got to keep going and not quit, because if you quit before you fully control it, you'll never know, like, if you truly like it and find it helpful. You
Mm.
need to learn how to drive, you know what I mean, in order to
Yeah.
experience the track.
Yeah.
So that's the stage where I'm at right now for me personally.
Yeah.
What about you?
I mean, I was trying it at the start of the year. I stopped doing it, and then I started getting back into it like 4 or 5 months ago or so.
Mm.
And because it was hard for me to get into it. I was like, what's all this? It's nothing. And then there's certain things that I was like, well, we're stressing over, and I was like, let me just meditate, and realizing you get your mind, if it can relax those certain stresses, they just die right down, and you have to keep doing it again and again and again and again and again. And the thing is, it's really, really difficult. Like, it's super hard. People will give up on it, and people don't have patience. And I think if you start with 10, 15 minutes, you go up to maybe 30 minutes, you go 40 minutes. Some people do an hour.
It's a long
So,
time, dude.
hey, how long are you doing?
It's a long time. I don't really count the time, to be honest.
Okay.
I just like when I feel it's enough, I'll just quit. You
Yeah.
know, it's kind of like I'll feel when it's good. I'll feel when it's enough.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a good idea to time it or yeah. I know. I mean, I know the sessions that I have take like hour and a half or 2 hours,
Mm.
but it's like multiple things. So I don't know how much time the actual meditation practice took. So I'll have to check next time.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I do it because I tend to fall asleep. It's like,
Cool.
yeah, I've fallen asleep and I've been like, I've done too long. Because you want to be able to, because you close your eyes and you can fall asleep, especially if you're lying down.
Yeah.
So I think it's maybe why people do sit up. So maybe there is a thing where if you are sitting up, you're more conscious of maybe being in a more meditative state too. But yeah,
Right.
no, it's the best thing for anyone. If you, I would highly suggest you do it. Just try it for even a month or two. It will take you a bit, but just go and do it. Like, don't just think it sounds like, old, like you were saying, you got to be in a temple somewhere to do it. It's not true. It's none of that. The quicker you get started doing it, the better you're gonna feel, because it's the only thing that gets to switch your mind off, and it is mental gym, literally mental gym. So you never get to work your mind out like that, because when you get to free up all that space of thinking and everything else in your head, your mind just gets to work in this. It works in a different way, and you don't know, because you'll get ideas that come to you easier. Like these things, they just start working better because you've freed up all that mental space for all these nonsense things that you go throughout your day thinking all the time. So, but yeah, this will kind of relate to the flow state.
Right.
So they say, because I was listening to something today, a lot of things, a guy talking about it today, and basically, flow state is the sense of being in a state where you're getting. They say, well, I'm not sure if it's true, but it's better than a lot of other activities when you're really enjoying it. When you're working and it's not too difficult. It's just that you're doing it and I think you can do it for about an hour and a half. But it's a flow state. You don't always. It's not like this constant feed of it, but it's
Like sprint.
What's that?
It's like sprints of high intensity.
Yeah, and so if you tax all your other dopamine on things, which I found, so if you are doing other dopamine like taxing stuff, I don't think you can get into a flow state as easy, because flow state is actually a state where you get the neurotransmitters to actually release, and all these nice chemicals that actually motivate you. So if you are taxing it, I think a lot of people won't get into the flow state. So if
Really?
if you're using too much Facebook, this is probably maybe why you've come off Facebook and all these things. It's like a thing inside you, sensing.
I'm so happy I deleted Facebook and Twitter, and I consider myself cancer free now, so I'm happy about that. And dude, I just think it's like the biggest load of garbage there is. My whole timeline is filled with garbage posts, foreign languages. Like I don't even understand what is going on there. Political garbage. It's like echo chamber to the max of people stroking their own, dicks to agree with what they already agreed to. And dude, it's such a waste of time, and that is exactly what it is designed to do. So I'm so happy that I deleted that, and I don't need it. Actually, I did it out of the blue, unannounced, and I actually received emails of people asking me like if everything was okay and where I'm at. So I do appreciate that, and sorry for dropping out like that. But I highly recommend everyone to do it. And I actually did a poll on my Instagram, and it actually turns out that 50% doesn't have Facebook, and I was so surprised by the amount of people who don't have it, and I was like, that is great. I was so happy to see that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it distracts you. I already noticed in the days after deletion that I was like opening a new tab and hitting F for Facebook, and I was like, that crazy little
Yeah.
automation, and now I got rid of it completely. I don't even search for it anymore. So I'm happy that I got like the last bit of disease out of my system, which is good. So yeah, like get rid of it, dude. Definitely. Or
Yeah.
if you have to run like a business page or whatever, like limit yourself to like 10 minutes a day, whatever, just to get your stuff done and get rid of it completely afterwards. So
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
terms of dopamine and in terms of the flow state, I discovered that sometimes, man, I really don't feel like starting work. Like, oh my goodness, when I procrastinate, and sometimes like very badly. And I discovered that sometimes you just got to sit down and work for like 5 minutes. And that's why I have a little kitchen timer. It's set on 90 minutes by default. And I just I hit it, and the time starts counting, and I'll work for 5 minutes. And like, dude, as it's like getting anesthesia when you're going under for operation, you're trying to like count down to 10 and you're gone. And that's the same thing with me. Like, the minute I put down the pen in Moy, whatever, to get my design started, like literally, I don't even know how fast it happens, and I transform into this flow state, and I'm like completely in the design, and I'm rocking the work completely. And sometimes I look at the timer to see like how much time do I have left to complete this little element, and I love it so much because, dude, if you really have the physical energy and the mental energy after having rested well, so you're capable to make these design decisions and actions to execute whatever you have in mind. This little timer is such a crazy productivity hack bomb, because, dude, like I made a space rover in one day purely by using that timer.
Yeah.
So the space rover have like the main elements, the chassis, the suspension, the wheels, the cockpit, and the body, and then some service parts. So that's like six chapters, so to speak, six main elements. And I use 90 minutes for each part. And dude, like you're done with an entire complex design in one workday. So just imagine the value this has when you're in a production pipeline working for a client on a project. You have the speed to actually fulfill the design, and you still have that design quality. So just imagine how much that is worth, Mike. That is worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because you have like an incredible asset in one day, and that's worth a lot of money, and which is great. So, dude, I love that hack. It's amazing. Everyone should get a little timer. Also, just to focus on getting stuff done and not to like procrastinate, even looking at a blank screen, because the timer is going. So it forces you to like, even if you don't really know exactly how you want to put out the construction lines, it forces you to just make that step, put the line on the screen, and then once you did that, once you committed, you transport it into the flow state. I mean, that is for me. I hope everyone else can have the same experience because I love it so much. It almost feels magical. You go into this state of consciousness that just lets you work freely without any effort. And I love it so much. And it really lets you focus on the design, on the quality of it, on important decision making. which leads to a beautiful product in also a fast amount of time. But you know, you don't have to constrain yourself time-wise. You can spend 2 weeks on a device. That is completely fine. But I'm just saying it has the capability and potential to really make you fast and produce something quickly.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I did actually listen to something today, and that's what they said. If you can't do it, like if you can't sit down for an hour, you have to just do that and do 10, 20, 30 minutes. Because it's like going to the gym. You go to the gym and the first 10 minutes sucks. But then you go, okay, I actually like this. And you get your attention goes up to about, let's say the attention span for a flow state, they say is about an hour and a half. So you have about a good hour and a half between you, like, I need to go.
90 minutes. 90 minutes.
Yeah. So, like, before you go off and maybe you need to get your brain doing something else and
Take a break. Right.
do something else. So it is very interesting in that flow state. And the flow state comes from essentially that you've practiced too. You can't be actually learning as you're going. Well, they say you could get a flow state and try and achieve something that is 30% greater than your actual capabilities. But if you're actually going for something that's only slightly higher than your capabilities, you can get into that flow state. But it's whenever you challenge your flow state, you're actually trying to punch above where you actually have practiced, you're not going to get into it because that's where you're learning. So you're going to have resistance. And so you're not going to feel like it at all. And that's like a different subject where you have to push through resistance. The resistance will be, the resistance suck, right? Procrastination and resistance, they're two different things, right? Resistance, like, say if me and you, we're not much of a fan of learning Blender. So a lot of resistance going in.
Blender, man. Yeah.
Yeah, so there'll be a lot of resistance.
It's one of those.
Yeah. That's for us to get into a flow state for Blender, we would have to you would have to work at it for a month and then we can get into a flow state. Then you feel comfortable. But you can imagine a month of Blender, right? Resistance. So
dude, that'll be crazy. But I mean, obviously, everything I just said comes with a caveat that, you need to master the program because otherwise you cannot utilize it in its intended form, in its intended way. You need to be able to use it mindlessly, where the tools are, like you can pick everything up blindly.
Yeah.
Only then, I believe, can you really truly enjoy a flow state to its max potential. Because I have to say, if you have to figure out things, if you're not sure what to do, your decision making will take a lot more time and you'll actually stagger tremendously. So that is detrimental to flow state. You need to be comfortable in the program you use, know what you're going to make, or at least have an idea and then let the stream carry you further. That is, I think, the right formula.
And hotkeys, that would be an extra little caveat, like you're saying. Hotkeys.
Yeah, that's like, hacks.
Yeah. Packs? What are you talking about? Packs?
I mean, it's a hack, like instead of going through the menu, you hit a hotkey. So, I mean, these are like little functional hacks you can use to cut down time, but you can still make as great of quality work if you don't have hotkeys.
Yeah.
It just takes more time operationally.
Yeah. I wonder how much, you probably save quite a bit of time in a year using good hotkeys, that's for sure. But yeah, the flow state is the holy grail, and I think a lot of people, I would say, I don't know, majority of people aren't hitting flow state. I would say majority aren't. With all everyone's addictions to Facebook and everything else, I don't think people are. Like, how are you going to get, so if your dopamine is absolutely not there, how the hell are you ever going to get in a flow state, right? So the fact that you quit Facebook, you have more flow state now, because you can't go onto Facebook, and that will distract you. And that I made a video called Mental Bandwidth, and believe it or not, you have to constantly lay down new, I can't remember the name, it's like myelin sheaths in your brain to like process Facebook, and then I could have got that wrong, but then you go back to work. The thing is, you got a lag time between it, and that will constantly suck your dopamine, and it's like you have to rewire yourself to get back into it.
It would be like trying to download a file while everyone in the house is playing Fortnite.
Yeah.
You want to cut away all those everyone's internet cable, so you have like full bandwidth for
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
That is, I think, would be the good analogy,
It's
which
perfect.
totally makes sense.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you shouldn't need to care about, because all of these things are just garbage minutia. You
Mm.
know, like why is it important to you to know what someone wore that day or where they were that
Mm.
day? You know, like, dude, this is information overload. Um, and information about your friends is one thing, but having your feed filled with garbage from like the
Mm.
entire planet, that's crazy, dude. We're not
Yeah.
meant to have that much information or process that much information in our heads,
Mm.
because when the internet wasn't here, we were like bound to the local tribe, so to speak. Even social interactions, social gossiping, like the network was limited to a certain capacity in terms of like how much people do you naturally know in your social network, and this has increased um, artificially to immense levels, and it really screws up with your mind, I believe,
Oh yeah.
and that's why you have to get rid of it, man. Did you get rid
Mm.
of it, dude? I want
I
you to get rid of it today. I'll stay here after the call for you to delete it.
yeah, to delete it. Well, I
Yeah.
actually intentionally, if I'm distracted by it, I'll disconnect the internet. I go that far. I get rid of the internet.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, I get rid of it, and then I play everything on my phone through. So if I want to watch something on YouTube, play it through my speakers, and that's it. So it's on my phone, and I actually put my phone out of view, because even if I see the phone kind of like blink, it will, I'm like, nah,
Yeah.
I don't want nothing. So I've been doing those hacks and making sure that I've got a timer too. I haven't got the clock displayed, no clock, and then I've got a timer. So if I need to get, I'll assign 4 or 5 hours to client work and then 4 or 5 hours to personal work in the day. And I have the timer clicking by. And I'm like, God, there's the timer. Same like you, right? But I know what it's like. I haven't used your little thing of doing 10, 20 minutes. I just push through that point. I actually, I actually sit down. So today I went to the gym and intentionally didn't have coffee in the morning because
Mm.
I need to tell my brain, no, you do gym without
You
coffee.
needed a handicap.
Yeah, and so, but
Right.
when I come back, I get to have a coffee, right? So
Oh, right.
then, yeah, you tell my brain, well, that's work time. So then, because we're very pattern driven, right? And believe it or
Hmm.
not, we will always like it is really hard to break the patterns that we have,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
keep going into the same goddamn pattern. And we're like, why do I keep doing it? Why do I keep doing it? Why do I like people do it for like dating people? The same thing. They date the same people again and again and again because all
Mm.
the things that brought you here are habit formed like through your habits. We're just walking around doing our habits every day, and until you're aware of your habit, the
Mhm.
pattern of your habit and everything else around it, then you can break it. And so you have to try things to break it and see how you feel. It doesn't feel good. So if you don't run every day, just start running. Just like, do 30 seconds of running and like you'll get better and better. And that's why they say a lot of people, if you put your gym clothes on, you'll go to the
Mm.
gym because you're putting yourself in a new,
Already. Right.
yeah,
Right.
psychologically telling yourself that. Um, I think people do that. I'm not sure if you're the same for like work at home. I don't really have that association of wearing like work clothes as working.
Oh,
I don't have
dude,
that. I
not at all.
I know
Like
some people do.
I walk in my underwear the whole fucking day, dude. I don't
Hey,
care.
maybe it's the next level of a hack, but like some people say, I have a mate. He goes, I have to wear shoes. I'm like, I couldn't. I hate wearing shoes in general. I can't imagine wearing. It's unnatural to
That's
wear
so
shoes.
weird, dude.
So
Like
yeah,
whatever works for you, man.
yeah. It's
Everyone has
psychologically.
different tricks and hacks, and
Yeah.
as long as they get the result, I think it's cool.
Well, the thing is you actually have to have that little reward, like a small reward, tiny, tiny reward. Like at the
Like a
end of
little
the
cookie.
day, yeah, get a little
Yeah.
bit of cookie at the end of the day, But the thing is, if you go, I'm going to work hard all day and have a little block of chocolate, you will
Yeah.
work because you're because that it's a habit thing. It's like if you do it, you're like, oh, I'll get that chocolate, and that's like it's a silly thing, but it's enough motivation to get yourself through that. That's why people drink after work. They go and drink alcohol. But the thing is, those things slip and then they become alcoholics. It's like, and so
Like hacks going out of
yeah,
control, you
it's
know?
a hack going out of control. But
Right.
that's really it. If you're really aware of your patterns and just say you keep doing, they say it's almost impossible to get rid of a pattern. So you have to be ready to really, really
Well,
push it.
don't they say like you cannot get rid of one, but you can replace it with like something
Possibly,
else? And
possibly.
if it's a good habit, like
Yeah,
instead of instead of drinking after work, you go to the gym.
yeah,
Dude, I don't see anything wrong with that replacement. It's still
yeah,
a good habit, you know.
yeah.
Habits aren't bad necessarily.
No, no, the bad
You can have
habits.
many you can have
I'll put
many
a
great habits.
I'll put a
Exactly.
definition: the
So,
bad habits. So, bad habits. Don't get rid of your good habits unless you want to try and change them and exchange them for something else. But
mm,
yeah, really be aware. Like working, sitting down and work, actually working. People struggle with that, and that's what you're talking about. It's like you found this hack, and you're like, hey, I can hijack my brain in such a way, and because it is true, because you need to create an addiction. It's like, oh, this is a little bit.
yeah, but
Yeah,
I wouldn't I wouldn't say I mean I'm cognizant of my imperfections and that I also have like procrastination states and inspireless um, states.
mm.
So I would only use that trick with a timer when I need it. But it's not like every time I work, I put on the timer. Like
Yeah,
I think it would only happen like 2% of the time. You know what I
mm.
mean? Sometimes it happens and it's shitty, and then I'll be like, okay, let's use the clock. Let's fucking go.
Yeah,
But other than that, I'm pretty comfortable with my discipline and
mm.
how I get work done. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I would say.
You have to be self-disciplined, otherwise, especially freelancing, you don't get nowhere. Trust me. If you're not self-disciplined, never gonna become a like freelancer. And some people just have the worst self-discipline.
Right.
Just being at home, people think it's just like, I get to take a break. But you got to take strategic breaks and take naps and stuff like that. Make sure you're actually doing those, and not just because you're avoiding work too, out of like a subconscious fear that you might suck at completing something. Just go, just do it. Dive deep, and you always surprise yourself. You always surprise yourself. You manage, especially if you practice everything that you're doing. You always surprise
Hmm.
yourself. I mean, how many times you surprise yourself doing certain jobs? You're like, damn, I did good, because it's
Yeah, it
yeah,
happens. Yeah,
yeah.
sure.
You do it. You get to that point, and it's because you just like, yeah, just suck it up. Don't be a pussy about this. But
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. This is on another subject, expressing yourself. I don't know why I wrote that down. I think I had a something in mind for it. Oh yeah, man, my camera's not good today. Expressing yourself in the sense that if you never express yourself for the work that you do and just who you are, essentially
Hmm.
you're taking in judgment of others, and you're just almost perceiving how they're going to react, so then you change your behavior in the world, right? Instead of being realistic with everything you do. Art is an expression, what you actually put out there, and if you're not expressing yourself, it will show on the art, and because you won't have a love for the art. So if you can't express yourself as a human being, things tend to fall out, just fall down and just look like crap. I think that's what makes a good artist, because the fact that they can express themselves freely with doing these things and doing what the hell they want. And that, I guess that's the funny thing, where people tend to copy. And that's the worst thing you can do, is copying someone else, someone copying you, someone copying me, because that's not your own expression. So I was going to ask you, what do you feel about stuff like that? Do you feel that you're you just do what the hell ever what do you want to do, and you're just going off what do you feel? Are you're not planning any of this, are you? Or the work that you do, the rover projects, you just did it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, well, yeah. I mean, the rover project is for ArtStation, um, but I could do whatever the hell I wanted. And I think on the day of the creation, I was like, okay, I'm going to make this because I can. And I love that. I love the freedom. I love freedom above anything else. And as soon as there are expectations in place, I don't like it anymore. Also, having a following can reinforce the idea that you have to conform to expectations. And I hate that as well. Fuck that. Like, I don't care. It may very well happen that one day I have like my Instagram account where I only have like robots, guns, and whatever. That I want to post something completely different. Maybe I want to post like cat pictures. I never would, by the way, but it might happen.
It might.
I don't give a fuck like what anyone would think if that happens. Like, everyone can unfollow me if they don't like it. Like, I don't care. It's my page. So I like to make what I enjoy. Otherwise, why do you make it? To get approval from others, to get praise from others because you're listening to what the audience says. I mean, the audience comes to you because you are being yourself in the first place. And as soon as you pivot into listening to your audience, they don't respect you anymore, and they'll go to someone else who is actually authentic, like the thing that they came to you for in the first place. So nothing is planned. I do exactly like what I like, when I like, how I want to, and when and how often. And if someone can agree to that, it'll be great. And if not, then I don't know if my page is the right one to follow, or my art in general. So yeah, that is kind of like a very blunt, direct answer to that.
No, it's perfect.
But that's what I think about, how I think about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like because we were talking about people the other day. Pretty sure he just expresses whatever the hell he wants, unless he's really doing some political stuff. But whatever gave birth to people, that's him.
What did you say?
People.
Oh, people, right?
People, yeah. Whatever gave birth to people, right? He just started expressing himself and went from there, pretty much. And let's say if he didn't, that's all set up and it's all political, which it kind of looks like it. I think for a fact it wouldn't be the same. The funniness and the unique qualities with just expressing what you want to do. And this is why you just don't. I mean, I always find it weird when people copy people. I mean, it's like, well, they say everything is a derivative of something else. Anyway, have you heard that before? Yeah, everything.
Yeah, but that's such a blanket statement. I'm like,
is.
What the hell?
I don't think it truly is, especially with art. There's been plenty of art that I've seen that is not a derivative of anything else. So, I mean, you've got surrealism of certain art. What is that guy? I think he's recently passed, but he was kind of in line, kind of on par with Geiger. He did kind of surreal art. I think someone talked about him the other day. Do you follow any surreal artists?
How do you find surreal?
Surreal. So Ben what is it? Beksinski. I've got a picture up here. I'll share my screen. I'm not sure if you've seen this guy before. All right, this is the guy here. I'm not sure if you've seen him before, but he's...
No, never saw it.
Yeah, like, he is pretty full on with what he does. It's like...
Do you like it?
I like it, and it's very disturbing if you look at some of his other work. I'll try and...
Right.
I'll see if I can find it. Let's see. What's going on my screen over here? But yeah, he's... I think, have you seen the Geiger game?
Yeah.
You saw that?
It's like Scorp or something? What is it called? Like,
yeah, so I think it's based on...
weird ass. Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, so it's based on him and Geiger. So they kind of like did both of them, which was really interesting. So this is a guy here. It's like full on, this guy. Like really.
Oh, yeah, I think I've seen like some stuff, but not like his whole portfolio.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of cool,
Yeah, it's full on. Like he never
Yeah,
he
I put that on my wall. Sure.
yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean,
Yeah, would you put it on your wall? Maybe I'd put it in like the hallway to the toilet. Just get some good vibes going, you know?
yeah, yeah. It's just so, I mean, it's called surreal for a reason, right? I
Right.
mean,
Yeah, but I mean,
yeah,
surreal, does that mean that it's not real? But then everything we do is surreal too. So
yeah,
how do you define that and where do you draw the line?
it's true. It's I guess it's like I was talking to another friend, and they, it's everything is, it's all desertless, right? And so whatever we have a subconscious mind that we think of desert, that if you see like these desert landscapes, it's like this depressing type of kind of thing, and then the rotting, almost like that's rotting flesh. You always see
Right.
like, and then you associate that with death, and you think, well, that's kind of it. Is it like this negative and positive, and then you've got like the kind of like, you know,
Yeah, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah. I mean, Geiger's, Geiger's full on. I'm not sure. I haven't seen Geiger's work for a while,
Of course I
but
saw. Of course.
you've seen it, but I haven't seen like this stuff is just super sexual. Like it's like, this is the guy. He even
Yeah,
looks,
but I think that's also like one of the main attractions to the
yeah,
work because it just like connects at
yeah.
at an instinctive level when one looks at it, you know.
Oh
So
yeah,
I think it's a
it's amazing.
fantastic design strategy.
It is absolutely amazing. It is hands down, yeah, one of the best. Like look
I
at
would
it.
love, dude. Like I would love a fucking original on my wall, dude.
I actually, like I didn't realize he passed away. Someone said I heard he passed away.
What, dude?
Has he
Yeah,
passed away?
yeah, dude.
So someone then told me no, he hasn't passed away, and I was like, well, what
Ah,
is it?
garbage.
Yeah,
Don't talk with him anymore. Telling you lies like that. He
yeah,
passed, dude.
yeah. I mean, he's a cool dude, man. He's a cool dude. He was really misunderstood when they got him on Aliens, right? Really misunderstood guy. And they almost didn't hire him because I think they were like afraid of him. I heard that story, but could you imagine what Aliens would be like without the alien that he did it? So
Dude,
yeah,
it would be nothing.
it would be nothing.
It would be like Horizon without the dinosaurs, you know?
Could be, could be. Who knows? But I would say that Alien inspired storytelling on a weird level, and
Mm.
I guess you wouldn't have taken it so serious. But I guess you're right. Like some things have to come together for a reason, and like you can't possibly comprehend any other way anyway because you're not exposed to that reality.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's you gotta wonder how he actually, how he actually even came up with this style to actually think like this. It would be interesting. I've never seen a detailed documentary on Geiger before,
You should,
but
man, do some research.
yeah,
I think it'll be interesting to know, you know, what drove his direction.
and he's got his museum. I'm not sure where that is.
Yeah, dude, I would love to visit that place one day, you know?
Yeah, yeah, he's got
Be
everything
sick.
there. It would be interesting. I wonder who's in charge of all that stuff now. These actually,
Probably like some holding or whatever. I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Maybe family or
Like I'm
yeah,
surprised
they'll
no one
figure it out.
stole the little statues from out the front here. You
Yeah,
know,
amazing.
yeah, I'm surprised no one's just like nabbed those, because when once an artist dies, the artwork becomes priceless in a way. So I mean, like this is so weird. Like
Dude, it's so cool. Like
yeah,
these little bullets, you know, in the gun.
yeah.
Fantastic.
And thinking about a person, he must have had some sort of expression. He's even got an arrow. But that's flow state right there. That's what, if everyone's
Mm.
wondering, that's all flow. That's just going,
Mm.
what the hell? Let me just do whatever the hell I want, you know? Let me put what little mini kind of like people in a gun. So, but nah, it's so cool.
It's so It's so unique, and that's amazing. So,
Yeah,
what exactly did you want to discuss in regards to expressing oneself?
just to express, because that's what you get, all right, when you do that. Like, imagine if Geiger. So I mean, well, Geiger got hired to do the Aliens movie, right? And they pretty much just picked. Well, he got to express himself. Can you imagine if they were like too much, too controlling? I mean, we have that with clients. So you get that all the time. Clients want to control you, and then what happens? Things kind of like, they go a bit, they go a bit funny when they
They
too
destroy the
much.
vibe, dude. I hate
They
it.
do, yeah. I've had that. I've had that a handful of times, more than a handful of times to be honest. And you don't want to admit it to yourself. You think, oh no, this is kind of like it's all right, yeah, but it's not. It's not. Like deep down, you hate something more than you like it, and then you
Right.
try and learn to love it because you made it. As weird
Yeah,
as
but
that
that's
sounds.
like rationalizing yourself back to positivity when you very well know that it's something that you don't like or agree with. And
Yeah.
it is something we do all the time, and that's stupid.
Mm.
And we should stop, because it's not good.
Mm.
It's like if you turn every bad event into a good one in order to not make yourself a loser psychologically,
Mm.
it may, like in the short term, um, take away that disappointment and pain, but in the long term, it's terrible. So,
Mm.
um, it's but that only manifests because of many factors. Like you don't control a client. You may agree to one thing and then get like something else,
Mm.
and then it is up to you to communicate that you don't like what's happening, and then to see like how they will respond to it, and then so you don't know what the other entity is going to do. So it's always going to be a factor of unknown, random chance that stuff can go sideways, like it always can. So that's why it is important to vet your clients to make sure you get
Mm.
good quality clients whom you agreed with, how the pipeline will look like, how the process and communication will look like, so you can avoid these as much as possible. But
Mm.
dude, it is great that you've made those mistakes, because now that you know them, you know how to identify them, and hopefully, like, you'll get even better in the future, um, working on bigger projects for more money, with more responsibility. And then it is great that you've had the experience before the big deal, so to speak, in order to execute them correctly. So
Mm.
in a way, these mistakes have led to these future endeavors, which will pay off in a bigger way. So
Mm.
in a way, everything is meant to be, and
Mm.
you should learn from the mistakes and take them forward and
Yeah.
use them
Yeah.
well. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So don't like be sad. You fucked up or whatever. It's part of it, dude.
Yeah, you not nothing's always like nothing will always go to plan, and there's always something to learn from the things that don't go to plan.
Yeah.
Especially if you if you work with a client more than once, the communication gets cleared up, and it's kind of like, well, you don't communicating with someone new is always that. There's a bit of a rough patch at the start, and then you're like, okay, yeah, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, and just things will flow. And I guess we get the flow state with other people too, right? We probably do. We probably, that assumption, not assumption, but the way we understand other people, you got to kind of understand, their wants and needs, and soon you'll start doing certain things that they actually wanted,
Mhm.
and they didn't have to sit there and explain it in complete detail. And
Right.
that's the sense of a flow state. But yeah, I'm not sure what else we can discuss. I think we're at the. You said you wanted to do 45 minutes. We're at an hour and a bit. I think. I'm not sure if
It always happens, and I knew it would happen.
what's
But
that.
yeah, dude, I think that was a great call.
Yeah, yeah. No, if we can do more of these, and we'll come up with little subjects and whatnot.
Sure
And if
thing.
people like it, like and subscribe. It's
Yeah, and
something. Yeah,
let us know in the comments like what you thought of it, and if you have any points you want to discuss, and
yeah,
let us know if you have any topics you would like us to hear talk about in the next video, that'll be great. Put it down in the comments. That'll be good for us to read. Right, Mike?
Yeah, be perfect. Perfect. Because we can answer them next time.
Yes,
We
exactly.
can do it and do it once a week and just talk shop, talk whatever else, life in general. We can talk about certain things that will assist people and things like that. So this is the whole point of doing this, and it's always great to converse with you and have a good chat and things like that.
Likewise, man. It's good to talk with someone down under, with a true Belgian. So that is fantastic.
I got to be Aussie to be Bogan. I got to be like
Aussie.
What is it? A convict off the boat. I'm not off the boat. I'm an immigrant.
Right.
So. All right, guys. We'll see you next week, and take care.
Right. Bye-bye.